Pressure gauges play an important role in measuring the air, gas, or liquid pressure in process and industrial systems. To select the right pressure gauge range, you need to make sure the pressure range you choose aligns with your application requirements. Once you have confirmed that, there are a few other factors to consider for optimum efficiency of your gauge. Let's review them now. The first step in selecting a pressure gauge range is to understand the operating pressures of your process. Ashcroft follows ASME B40.100 standard, which recommends the following. Operating pressure should be 25 to 75% of scale, and the gauge range should be twice the operating pressure. Ideally, the mid-scale on your dial should be around 12 o'clock, or the mid-scale of the full-scale gauge span. If pulsation is present, the maximum operating gauge pressure should not exceed 50% of the full-scale range. The design pressure is the maximum pressure that your gauge will experience during your application at a given moment in time. There can be a surge of pressure when the machine turns on, or surges or pressure spikes can happen at other times. Pressure gauges can handle 130 to 150% of the range, depending on the gauge. But if the pressure goes beyond that, you will need to get a gauge with a higher range or protect the gauge from possible overpressure. All pressure gauges have a variety of dial size options and features to consider. Depending on the range you need, dial sizes typically range from 1 1/4 to 12 inches. Gauge size and readability are very important considerations. You can narrow down your options by asking yourself, do I need to read the gauge from a distance? How far away is the gauge from the operator? Dial features, on the other hand, also consider numeral type, major graduations, and minor graduations. Minor graduations can be difficult to read if too close together, so consider the readability of these smaller graduations when selecting the best dial size. This is important, especially when you choose a better accuracy gauge. The better the accuracy of the gauge, the more graduations are required. So if your application requires 0.5% accuracy or better, a dial size less than 100 millimeters is not recommended. That's because the number of required graduations can make the gauge difficult to read. In these cases, consider getting a dial that's a larger size to accommodate the measurement increments. Some other important considerations are pointer width. Pointer width cannot be greater than the width of the dial graduations and may be a limiting factor when determining how many graduations are available with corresponding dial sizes. Space restrictions. If there is not a lot of space where the gauge will be installed, you may also be limited in your dial size selection. Low light conditions. If your gauge needs to be read in dimly lit areas, using a retroflective dial material like the Ashcroft Duraviz gauge dial is a good option. The retroflective material is the same material used on stop signs. Unlike a reflective material that disperses light in different directions, Duraviz material reflects light back to the light source, making readability easier. When it comes to gauge scales, you want to consider the following. Which unit of measure is required? In the US, a pound of force per square inch, or PSI, is common. Other popular units include kPa, kg centimeter squared, and bar. How many units of measure are needed? If your application requires a dial with multiple units of measure, you can select a single, dual, or triple scale option. You've now learned the best practices for selecting the proper pressure gauge range. For more resources or to speak with one of our industry experts, visit the Ashcroft website.